on this show, we do ramble a lot. We do go over the same stuff over and over again. And the reason being that we do have solutions. We're building hardware. We're building software. We're building solutions. The industry is adopting the solutions. I mean, the only certified UAS that are out there run. And when I say certified UAS, I mean commercial, not military. That are actually doing deliveries and stuff are all running open source Archipilot on Cube autopilots. This isn't stuff that the regulator brought to us. This is stuff we've worked really hard to prove to the regulator that we're safe. Right. And we'd love to have better methods for doing that, et cetera, but it just feels often like we're just banging our head against a brick wall, saying the same stuff over and over and over.
So my only suggestion there, so Assure, that's why Congress created us, is to help industry work its regulatory risk, right? And that's what I see my primary job is reducing regulatory risk around the globe. Now, to do that, we have to have a great relationship with industry. We got to bring forth with the limited resources, time, money, bodies available to attack issues that are, first, second, third, and fourth. And we do that with our industry in the U.S. primarily. But we're always open to new ideas and how to do that. But that's why industry is, and why we have the one-to-one cost share, is because the expectation of Congress is to do industry. And also our U.S. Congress, we're finding is the one that is poking the bear, the regulatory non-moving dormant bear, to wake up and get moving. And they ask Assure constantly to do this. And I'm dealing with all kinds of regulatory language in both the federal and states on how to kind of get commerce going. So there's a sea change happening, at least in the US, that there's interest in commerce. There's interest, matter of fact, I've been funded to stand up a whole first standards training, education, testing, certification and credentialing of first responders use of UAS. And what's come to me in the last week or so is, hey, can you do blue and green list? Blue list being US only, green list being non-Iran, China, kind of stuff from all our allies. How can you establish that? So we're trying to get some regulatory language in place to establish across at least the US, and then UK's expressed interest, Canada's expressed interest, and Australia to be part of this program to start moving out on industry. So the actual legislatures, the people that you're voting for to put in, in your positions of governance are starting to get it. And that, I think, is the biggest change that I see out there.
Have you just given us a bit of a scoop there, Steve? You said green list and a blue list.
That's my terms.
Okay.
Those are my terms.
That actually worries me greatly, to be honest. I mean, as again, our autopilot is 6 out of the 11 on the blue SUAS approved list. We're an Australian company, and yet even though we're on that, we still get companies saying, "Oh no, we need US made." I'm sorry, but there's this thing called AUKUS. There's this thing called ANZUS. There's all of these treaties where we're meant to be all these close allies, and somehow that is fixing into aviation regulation. And
that's not me. That's not for me to fight. That's for you.
I know that, but it does make it difficult because it means that
Phil, let me finish. So what's happening though is, at least in the U.S., our states and our federal government is ready to dump money into the industry. Quite frankly, the language right now.
At who? I mean, one of the things we've seen in the past, Defense Innovation Unit would be a great example of money being dumped into the industry. Yeah. And what happens is companies who can afford to spend a lot of time on lobbyists and lawyers get in, and they take something that's meant to be standardized and turn it into something into proprietary. An example was the Mavlink as standard comms for UAS. that a particular Swiss company got the contract for. So they set up an office in America to pretend they're American. They did the contract, and then all of a sudden they tried to turn it into, unless you're using our system, you don't meet the DIU regulation.
Right.
So
we're being created.
We end up fighting that instead of safety
as another, as an alternative to DIU because of these kind of issues. And the only person that you need to lobby is probably me with an L as we try to grow this program. The idea, though, is to have different certification centers all across the United States, UK, Australia, Canada, once we get this thing up and running. I don't know what the list color is and who's going to be in line. I don't really give a shit. I want the ability for whoever wants to pay for systems to support public safety, public benefit, and then industry to be able to get that money spent. Right now, everything is, well, it's Chinese, we can't buy it. And then I get stupid ass stuff like you just brought up, but even worse. For example, Mississippi, where I am right now, they put out a rule that we're still trying to get killed before that goes final, that you can only buy Mississippi-built UAS. Guess how many complete parts are built in Mississippi? I mean, come on, guys. This is asinine. Let's manage this a little bit better. But the idea on this thing is I need it to be low cost and my focus, what keeps me honest, is I'm focusing on first responders. They do not have budget. They don't have a lot of money. So if I can build a system that has all the procedures in place for their education training, and then when people drop money on them to go buy something, they can go to a list and say, okay, here's the list that I can go buy from. And that enables that sponsor to do it because they know it's been certified in some mean fashion. Blue, green, yellow, purple, blue, polka dot.
Yeah, I hate to support DJI here, but let's be blunt. A DJI Mavic Pro with a thermal camera is the exact drone that most firefighting departments need. Exactly. And that's said by someone who is clearly commercially not interested in supporting DJI. But if you just want to go out and buy something that works, you're not dealing with a national security issue while you're trying to fight a house fire or a bushfire or any of those sort of things. So,
we're buying the equipment right now to do some of these trainings and things. And boy, we can surely see the quality step down now because I'm funded primarily through the U.S. federal government. I can't buy a Chinese product, but boy, it's cost more, it's less capable, but that probably will exist everywhere for some period of time. And hopefully our industry will catch up. And when I say ours, I mean the collective ours.
Yeah.